everyone, welcome back to Studio 33 Art by Kay. Yesterday I posted a picture of a tile that I did, and I did this beautiful lacing here using the ACRYLIC white, although I think I called it titanium white, but it is actually only white. And I mixed that with this little piggy constellation, and that's how I got this beautiful lacing effect here in the resin. So I actually just used a couple of tiles that I'd painted over, like I've got here. Then I used my Platinum Art Class resin, which is the very fast setting resin. You only have 21 minutes with that resin before it starts to set up, and it's completely set after 3 hours, so you have to work really quickly. But I have found that that particular art class resin actually is one of the secrets to getting this really good lacing, for me anyway, and also the ACRYLIC dye as well. So what I wanted to do today, I was wondering, when I did mix the ACRYLIC and this little piggy together to get this effect, I wondered how would it go if I just mixed this little piggy into the resin, whether I would still get that effect. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to, for this particular one, I'm mixing, like I did yesterday, this little piggy and ACRYLIC together to get my beautiful lacing. And with this one, I am just going to put this little piggy constellation into the resin that I'm going to create my lacing with. So hopefully that makes sense. Now the other thing I'm doing today, which I know gives really good lacing, instead of using my heat embossing tool, I have found that using a heat gun like this one here, and I think they call it a wedding cake attachment. As you can see, it's a bit like a wedding cake. So I found that has helped to create the lace as well, using that, which is, using the heat embossing tool does give a nice effect, but I have found that this gives a better effect for what I like, but you know, everyone likes something different. So that's what I'm going to use today as well. So without further ado, I'm going to put on my mask and get on with this. This resin, the Platinum Art Class resin, is a 1-to-1, 1 part A, 1 part B, but it's by weight. So I will be weighing that on my scale here. And I'm just going to use a small amount, close to not even 5 mils, so only a couple of mils in the bottom of here, that I'm going to put the drop of ACRYLIC and also a little scoop of this little piggy. So let's see what will happen. So we'll get on with it now. And I won't bore you with the mixing of the resin. I will do that off camera, and I'll be straight back. See you soon. Okay, so here I am. I've mixed my resin, 1 part A, 1 part B, and I've mixed it for a good 3 minutes, maybe a little bit more, but I don't want to muck around with this one because I've only got the 21 minutes, so I'll get on with it. So I'm just going to put some of that into my little cups here so that I can mix. I'll probably put a little bit more than I need to. These are just little shot cups, or shot glasses. They're not glass, but they're that's what they are. And what I do at the end of this, you can use that resin to use in a mould, so it doesn't get wasted. So I've just filled it to the point where it's just up to where the little groove is on here, so it's probably about 2 mils. So in this one, I'm going to put just 1 drop, hopefully, of the ACRYLIC white. You need just a drop. And then I'll stir that in. And now I'm just going to add a little scoop of the Little Piggy constellation. Be very careful not to get the dust flying everywhere, which is another reason why I've got my mask on. So I'm just going to take a little scoop like that, which is quite a bit. Probably don't need that much, but and put that much in both of those. And I can stir that one. Put that to one side. Give it a really good mix. I was so pleased with how this turned out yesterday, so I was quite excited to have a go today. Obviously the Lumilite white has muted down that beautiful constellation, but it still made a really nice effect, so I wanted to try that again. That's all mixed through now. Now I'll mix this one. I really hope this works, but I have a feeling it may not, which will prove that the Illuminite is one of the key ingredients, but you never know. So just get that completely mixed in. Which it now is. Right, so I'm just going to lay down some of my Platinum Art Class resin. And I'm just going to bring it right up to the edge here. And then I will put about a centimetre or just under a centimetre of the coloured resin at the beginning here. I normally wouldn't use, this sort of a pattern on tiles like this, but this is just for my demonstration today. And these tiles are nice ones, but they're not my favourites, so I thought I'll just use them. And I think also one of the variables is how deep your resin is, as to how well your lacing goes. So they're all things that you're just going to have to experiment with. And to be honest, every time I do this, I'm sure I do it a little bit differently. It's just like when you're doing your paint pouring, you get it down to a certain technique, but there's always a slight variable. It won't take long for this to start heating up. I finished mixing the resin at 325. So I'm just keeping a bit of an eye on the clock. Just cover the edges. I always do a little bit extra resin. I know it's a bit wasteful, but that's why I use the moulds with my little bit. But just be careful with this quickset resin. You can't use it in a deep mould, only to about a centimetre deep. Otherwise, it will get very hot. And I have actually had smoke coming off this resin when I put it into a mould that was quite deep. So you really don't want that. And again, that's why you want to make sure you've got a fire extinguisher always handy in your art room or close by. Okay, so now I'll just do a little strip of the colour. Now if you're putting liquid into resin, such as some acrylic paints you might be putting in, they say no more than 6%. With a dry powder like the pigments, it doesn't dilute it too much, so yeah, don't have to worry quite as much. But some resins say don't dilute them any more than 6%, some say 10%, so trial and error a little bit. I do hope this works, because that is beautiful, whereas the one that's mixed with the Alumilite is very muted down. So I'm just pushing that up to the edge of my resin, my clear resin. And you've got to experiment with your width as well. I like to keep a little bit of the coloured resin into my container here, because when I blow this out, it often blows the resin off the edge, so you want to go back and touch that up. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my heat tool onto just the first one. Let it heat up to 250. Burst some bubbles. And I'm going to hold it horizontally as I can, like this. So as horizontal as I can, just to get that paint to move, and that's how I try and hold it. So I'll just turn it on again. Okay, well you can see straight away I've got this beautiful lacing here, which is what I get when I use that platinum art class resin, and I use the Alumilite white dye, and also my heat gun. This side though, it has actually laced up a bit. It's a little bit hard to see because of the pattern on the background, but it actually has. So it's not as defined, but it is there. So that's exciting. So I'm just going to fix up my edge a little bit here. And the time is currently 3:36, so I've been going for 10 minutes. So I've got 10 minutes to go before she starts to really warm up. So I'm just going to tidy that edge up, that's all. I can already feel this thickening up in my little container here. And I do find that this resin does pull away from the sides a bit when you've used your heat tool to blow it out as well. So I just need to put a little bit more on the sides. Just going to tidy these up. Haven't got that much of this one left. And now I shall just touch up my edges. That's already getting warm in there, quite warm. You see it's starting to really thicken up. So just be aware of that pulling back from the edges and just add that little bit more along the edges there. Now, and I love how this is reacting at the bottom there where I added that in. Just going to get a skewer and I'm going to run through that just to give it a bit of a pattern. Just the flat end here. And then always make sure you wipe your drips off the bottom. If you don't do that, then the resin will continue to run off and it will continue to draw the resin off the tile. So, you know, you'll always get some drips still there, but it just helps to slow it down. And I just use a wet wipe, a baby wipe, to clean up, that's all, just those. Don't like what I've done there, I've made a few little holes in that. It's already starting to really thicken up. Just bring those back together again. And you can see this edge is pulling off still. So I'll just grab some of the resin from the tray and just pop it back on there. As it's thickening up, it will hold on better. Really starting to warm up. See, that's getting very chewy now, like chewing gum. You can see that there. Very chewing gum like. It means it's already starting to set up and it hasn't even been the 20 minutes yet. But it's fine when you're doing a cheese board. I only do one at a time. And that way, you know, you're not worrying about it setting up on you. Okay, and I'm going to leave that like that now. And I'll clean up my implements here with the wet wipes, as I say. And I'll come back to you in about 4 hours' time. It's currently 42, so it's just been under the 20 minutes. And it's thickening up. So as I say, I'll come back. Just going to make sure I've got no bubbles in there or I haven't missed anything. I'll just get down to eye level to check for that. I'm just going to use my brulee gun my brulee torch just to burst any bubbles that might be in there, but don't hold it too close because it will burn the resin. So just a quick like that, and I can see that burst a big bubble just there. And I've made sure I've covered everything. There was no missing spots. So I'll see you back here in about 3 hours. Well, here we are, coming down for a close-up of these two lovely pieces. It's been 2.5 hours, and this is very well set, as you can hear. Tap, 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 tap. So they set so quickly, that Platinum Art Class resin. Now this one's the one that I actually used just this little piggy constellation to colour to colour the resin, and you can see at the bottom there it's absolutely gorgeous. But it did actually create lacing, and although this lacing here was actually in the paint that was underneath, you can see it's a bit hard to sort of pick it up, but it is actually in amongst this area here. So it's absolutely beautiful. In hindsight, I should have probably just done a trial over the top of just some plain white tiles so you could really see it, and I may do that in the next couple of days just to show it better. And this other one was the one I mixed there, this little piggy with the Alumilite white, and again that's lovely too. It's more muted because of the white, but this little piggy is still really showing through beautifully, and you can very clearly see in this one how the lacing formed there. You can really see that lacing very, very clearly on this one. So two really beautiful pieces. So that was a good little experiment. So hopefully you enjoyed that one. And as I say, I will do some more experiments on this type of lace creating with the resins in the next few days. In the meantime, stay safe. Bye-bye.